Welcome to One on One with Jane. I'm your host, and today I have Tori Clay on my show. She's actually a musician. Do you also sing as well, or how'd you get into it?
Yeah, it's a pretty unusual story because although since I was a kid I played guitar and other instruments on and off, and it was just for my own enjoyment. I was what they call a bedroom guitarist, for like 5 minutes maybe. I was in a band, which didn't play anywhere. All we did was rehearse, and then the drummer died, and that was the end of that. So last summer, I have a friend who's a terrific musician, and his band was playing, and they took their break between sets. And at that point, they dared me to play one of my own songs. And I said, you know, if you really want to get rid of the crowd, I can do that for you. And so, go ahead, try it. And so I did. And it was nuts. I was electrified, for the first time in my life, seeing a crowd loving my music, dancing and jumping around and smiling, just moving. And it went so well that instead of playing one song at a time, I played five. And, I probably could have stayed on all night, but so I played, and I left there feeling fantastic about it. And so I decided I'll do something the following week, and I went to a talent show that a friend told me about, got me into. And again, I got a great reception. People shoot me with their phones and stuff. And then my friend who actually worked there with those people work for that um, talent show told me that the following week, the people that worked there were still walking around singing my song, which they never heard before. So I was so buoyed by having those two great sponsors. I just started playing all over town here as a singer-songwriter guitarist. And what happens more often than not, somebody in the crowd comes up to me later and they tell me that I remind them of Lou Reed. And if I don't get Lou Reed, I get Iggy and I get Elvis Costello.
Oh,
And so people tell me that my music sounds like it was hits in the days of classic rock, and so they love it, and I love doing it. And because I'm deaf, I tell the audience, you know, I wear hearing aids. I have no idea what I sound like, and just tell them, as long as you're not throwing shoes, I figure, eh, I'm no worse than the last time.
so are you in Boston, Massachusetts?
Yes, I am. And I'm a lifelong Bostonian. I moved around a little bit, but I'm basically a lifelong Bostonian. I love it here.
Yeah, because years ago I met a guy, I can't recall what his name was. He had a movie screening in rural local Michigan, and I went to see it. Then he moved out to Boston. He said filmmaking is getting big there. So he moved out straight to Boston. This is years ago. I wanted to stay in touch with him, but he was giving me some quick tips. You know, what steps are you taking to break in?
Oh, um, I'm not actually. I mean, I it would be a fantasy if I could do something really professionally with it. The funny thing is, a producer caught my act and fell in love with a couple of my songs, and he was actually taking me into the studio to record them. And then the virus came and killed everything. People couldn't use studios anymore, and so I haven't been able to do that with him. But I was so excited about that possibility of, I'd never set foot in a recording studio before. And those hats, you got to learn really carefully not to let yourself get upset a lot. I mean, that's one of the things you and I have in common. You know, I've directed, produced, shot, written, coached. You know, I've done everything above and below the line. You know, top line feature films and um, anything in the world of entertainment. They say tonight's game, I'm giving you the under on it, and it's crazy. This is locked in. It's concrete. You've got to play this. And if you win, say, wow, that guy was great. And if he's wrong, he just says, well, I was wrong that time, but I'm still really, really good. I am in heaven when I'm in front of a camera or on a stage, um, be it comedy, be it dramatic, be it performing musically. You know, I had the most perfect gig in theater that I could imagine earlier this year. Um, it was a play that hadn't been on the boards here in Boston yet. It was written by an Academy Award winner, and I can't think of his name right now, but he's the one that wrote Motorcycle Diaries.
Okay.
And I had the smallest role in that play. I also had the largest role in it. And the small role was a transvestite in a woman's prison in Colombia.
Okay.
And this was a guy, and I'm using the male pronouns advisedly. You know, this was a guy who suffered years and years of being in a men's prison first, where he was raped all the time and tortured and beat up. And so he was just a shell of a human being by the time he was finally allowed to be in this woman's prison. And the other role, the largest one of the play, was the directora, the head warden of the prison. Totally opposite, still Hispanic, but a real bitch, really. You know, just completely authoritarian and draconian, in charge of everything, every minute detail. And so I had two beautiful characterizations ready to go. Two different Hispanic accents, two different sets of physical mannerisms. You know, I was ready to slay in this play. And then, tech night, we show up at the theater to find it's closed.
Oh, wow.
The virus, you know, stopped that like it stopped every other thing in Boston back then. And so everybody went their separate ways.
So do you write your own music?
I do. I write my own lyrics, my own music, and when I play out, I only play my own original stuff. It's been a real pleasure, Jane. I want to thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
I'm looking forward to catching up on more of your podcasts, and I'll help promote it, and I wish you a lot of luck with this in the future.
Thank you.
Podcasts are definitely big and going to get a lot bigger.
Yep. Where can we find you on social media?
Well, thank you for asking, Jane. On Facebook, it's Tori Clay Actress, and I'm under the Tori Clay on Instagram and all the others. Also, Tori Clay on YouTube, and if you go to YouTube, you can see work that I've done also as Dick Clay and compare it to me now, which is kind of interesting.